So my dad was actually Hanaid by a Macfarlane. So we're actually not Macfarlanes. But he was Hanaid by a Macfarlane. He was adopted by his biological grandmother who married a Macfarlane. So that's why we carry the Macfarlane name. And that's the same Macfarlane family that does like the outrigger, the Macfarlane regatta. So my dad grew up his whole life thinking that those were his parents. And it wasn't until his senior year of high school that they told him, okay, we're actually your grandparents, and this woman who you thought was your sister your whole life is actually your mom, your biological mom.
Okay, I didn't know about that part.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So he was Hanaid by Macfarlane.
Which was his biological mother's mom, Puna. His grandma, Puna, adopted him. And so Grandma Pete, who is his biological mother, she pretended to be his sister his whole life until they told him what happened. And my dad was like, okay,
So like an older sister.
Yes, yeah. And then they didn't really establish a relationship until much later in life, but she did. She ended up, because she lived in the mainland for a while, and she ended up moving back to Hawaii to reestablish a relationship with my dad, and it was totally fine. Like, that was our grandma. We're so happy and grateful for that time that we were able to spend with her before she passed away. My mom was her caretaker, everything. But the whole time, she wouldn't tell us who his biological father was. And we always wanted to know, because my dad is such a stud. My dad was like the best athlete, coolest guy, handsome, So we're just like, who is your dad? And she only gave us his name, Chuck Trimble. That was all. And I guess I think he was a dock worker during the war. And so, okay, we kind of just accepted that we weren't ever going to really find him or anything. But then all the DNA tests started coming out, like 23andMe, Ancestry.com. So one year, it was actually the year that I won the belt, 2017. We decided to get, for Christmas, all these tests for my dad. We got him every single one we could find. So he submitted his tests and his DNA and everything. And one day he gets a notification that like, oh, you got matched with this one person. You guys share half of your DNA. We think this could be a sibling.
Oh, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, something like that. And then, and so we look at the profile and it said Robbie 737. That was the profile name, but there's no picture or anything. And my mom was just like, my mom is one of the smartest women ever. She's so smart. And she went Waianae High School. And she is like just the walking encyclopedia of our family. And mom goes, Robbie 737. She's like, is that Uncle Robbie? And she's like, because, he did fly. He's a pilot. Like, is that Uncle Robbie? And so dad ends up calling up Uncle Robbie. And we're just like, hey, did you happen to do a DNA test recently? And so long story short, they put the two together. And it turns out that was him. And we're just like, so now we're like, that's oh my crazy. Gosh, like you guys must share the same dad. Or turns out it was the same mom. My grandma ended up having Uncle Robbie as a secret baby and had given him up for adoption. And so the more research we started doing into everything, we actually ended up finding other children, like other siblings. Wow. And then we were also able to find his biological father, who lived up in California. And so Grandpa Trimble, he had passed away already, but he had like 5 sons. He had 5 sons as well. And then my grandma also had like 4 sons. Wow. And so my dad, we ended up meeting up with all of that side of the family up in the mainland at one of my fights. They all came down to watch me fight. And we had like a huge family reunion where we met our long lost relatives. And it was amazing. And just so much good came out of that. And then even our Uncle Robbie, he ended up finding his biological parents, which was what his mission was, because he was Hanaid too. And yeah, so there's just we're just a huge happy family now. But yeah, it was just crazy that they literally grew up together. They were football teammates, classmates. The reason that they were classmates, even though they're the age different, is because Uncle Robbie's super smart, skipped a grade. And so that's why him and Dad were like teammates, you know?
That's
and
insane.
yeah, it's just been such a wonderful experience, like meeting our relatives. And yeah.
Yeah. My stepdad only met his father a couple years ago. And like we found out that we had all these other family in Kona, Washington, California. So it's cool to see the extended family, but not a story like that.
Yes.
That's like I thought of a book to write that's similar to that, where it's like the mom has a kid but says like she's the auntie or something instead of the mom. I don't know why I was thinking of this stuff, but that's like the real life version of the book I was thinking of.
Yes. And
has nobody wrote anything about that?
no, and but we were like, this could be like a Lifetime movie or something.
Yeah.
But there was it was super cool because we decided after I won the belt. So I actually fought and won the belt in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So when I came back home after that fight, we put on a backyard style luau to celebrate. And so all the reporters were there, like Rob DeMello, Brandy Higa. They were all there to make a story about me winning the belt. And so, you know, they got their footage and everything. And I was like, hey, would you guys mind sticking around? Because we're actually going to like introduce our new uncle to everybody. And like, I think it would be kind of cool to have footage. They're like, yeah, sure. And they ended up doing the story on that because it's such a great story.
Yeah.
And that's how it went viral.
So they national,
everything. They went on the Steve Harvey show. They were on like ABC, all these networks. It was so great.
Crazy. Imagine that. What was more crazy for you that time, like seeing your dad's story unfold or winning the Bellator championship?
I would say the story. I'm like, I didn't care that they totally hijacked my moment of, you know, like, I won the belt.
I was thinking that.
No, it was so like, this is incredible. And like, I always cry whenever I see the clip of us introducing Uncle Robbie because everybody's in tears. And so, yeah, it was so worth it. So worth it.
That's insane. What are the odds of that? Somebody got to do some math and tell us what are the odds of somebody being separated at birth, Hanayed, but growing up together and then...
Yeah. And Dad would even like, he's like, yeah, whenever I would get kicked out, I would go to Robbie's house and like, he would come home from college and I would be in his bed. He'd be like, yeah, what's up? Yeah.
Oh, dang. Well, they got the Parent Trap.
Yes.
So we need like a little local version of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually a great idea.
Yeah. We have a lot of amazing Native Hawaiian filmmakers. They got to do something like this. Tell this story. This is so cool.